and this is episode 2 of the Fooladi Fitness Podcast. I'm joined by a special guest today, my main man, Frank, one of the most unique and creative content creators out there when it comes to this YouTube platform, and someone that's really bringing art back into content creation in general. So, appreciate you coming through, pulling up, chopping it up with me, man. And we've been talking for a minute now, so it's always good to link up back together, and now we're gonna put it up on a podcast format.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How you been, bro? What have you been up to?
Chilling, man. Just steady grinding this YouTube stuff, man. Trying to get these podcasts out, pumping them out. So appreciate you pulling up, and let's get on to episode 2.
I had to.
All right, so the first thing I want to ask you is, bro, what got you into content creation in the first start? Like, we've been talking back and forth now, but I never like really asked you or understood or like got the answer of like how you first got into content creation, what inspired you, who inspired you, and what is the reason that you keep going with it?
What got me into it? I feel like the type of person I am, and a lot of people can relate to this for sure, is that you have something within you that needs to get out in some way. So like whatever medium that manifests itself in is whatever you like. And for me, it's putting like videoing, at least at this stage of my life. It's like getting a camera and making it look as cool as you can in post. So like editing and stuff. So that's what kind of really excited me. Obviously, I'd been on YouTube as a platform since I was like 12 or 11 or something. But yeah, man, just the amount of experimentation and the skill ceiling that you can reach as somebody who creates visual content specifically is very high. And yeah, I just am very attracted to it. I do want to move into other things as time goes on, but for right now, this is the main focus. And it's just because for the simple fact that it brings me like dopamine. I like it, you know? So yeah. In terms of how I got started, just same as everyone, man. I literally just posted a video where I included the first ever video that I made.
I saw that.
Yeah, it was very like just the people that I was watching at the time inspired me a lot. And you can kind of see that. And the discussion in that video was pretty much that people struggle with feeling, or including me at one point, felt the struggle with using resources or just stealing, basically. You know, artists stealing other people's ideas and stuff. And at the end of the day, those ideas aren't yours. So I just was like, you can still stand out with the ideas of all the people that you like in a compendium with you in the foreground, whereas the ideas that you enjoy are in the background. So I just like finding really, really dope shit, putting it in the background of whatever I'm making, and then creating like an experience and like referencing certain things that probably only I will ever know. But if you know, then you kind of understand. If that makes sense. Does that answer the question good?
No, yeah. And going off that, like your first video, the short, you kind of like put a clip of it. What state were you in? Where you were just like, all right, bro, this is my first YouTube video, I'm gonna get at it. What was the idea? What was like, you just like went for the fuck of it, or was it like, okay, I'm gonna have this planned out, like I'm gonna try YouTube for X amount of time, or was it just like, I'm gonna pick up this camera and let's get it going?
Yeah, so actually, at the time I was really big into skating, and I'm just chilling at the skate park, like, you know, fucking around, skating, chilling with friends, all the above, like all the normal skate park activities. Yeah. But then you see, I just always thought about it, and I was having a discussion with one of my homies there, and he was like, yeah, man, I wish I could just do this all day. And I was like, why can't I do what I like all day? I need to find a way to monetize what I like so that I don't have to work, which is basically the main motivation for everything I do effectively from that point, which was May 2021 until today. So it's not even been 2 years, which is wild to me. And I've already made like a lot of progress.
Click like in your brain, like, or did you say it to him? Or you're just like thinking in your brain, like, I need to do what I love to do and try to find and monetize it? Or is it just like
Literally.
an internal thought that just click at that moment, or is it something that
Yeah.
kind of like building up?
Yeah. Well, obviously it's been building up, and I see people that I admire
Yeah,
live the life that fulfills them. But I literally just said it out loud. I was like, why can't we do this? Like, what, we need to find a way to get up out of here and do the things that we love,
yeah,
but still, you know, be able to live, like make money off of it.
hmm
Whereas like not everyone was really vibing with that. No one really, in that certain moment, no one was really like, yeah, we need to do that. But I was like to myself, yeah, I'm not trying to work. I'm trying to play in
yeah,
everything I do. You know what I mean?
yeah. That's dope. So that's one thing too I've noticed about your content and the things that you kind of promote and stuff. There's a lot of pushing or like promoting the main message of self-belief. And we've talked before, we've had an interview on your channel before, and that was like a main thing that we talked about back and forth. And that self-belief, was it always something in you? Was it something that you had to deal with, like the self-doubts and stuff, like maybe I can't do this YouTube thing, maybe if I put out this content, like everyone's gonna make fun of me? Was it all that stuff that you learned to deal with along the way and that you're kind of like trying to help people with? Or was it something like you always had in you, like you're like, nah bro, I'm not gonna listen to the noise, I'm not gonna listen to the doubt, I'm just gonna follow my heart, follow my dreams, and just whatever happens?
Exactly. Yeah. So the first video I ever made was called "How to Be Yourself," and I've
Mhm.
like privated it for now until like I feel like I can show it, so I have good
Yeah.
progression. Um, but effectively, my process, even since then, was okay. What am I dealing with? What do I think other people are dealing with? What is my message to myself, and therefore everyone feeling this certain feeling? In how to deal with it. So a lot of my stuff kind of a lot about self-belief, correct? It's a lot
Yeah.
about overcoming like ego, desire, and attachment. So anything that basically, like, this is like a Buddhist principle, which is just random, but we'll throw it in
Mhm.
here anyway. So it's
Yeah,
like a
go for
Buddhist
it.
principle that attachment is pain or suffering. Is it? That's what it is, right? Attachment is suffering.
Root of all
So
suffering. Yeah.
exactly right, exactly right. So what I try to explore or almost solve, provide an
Mhm.
explanation for, is that suffering. I want to live a life that is completely maximal to the best it can be. Not in terms of like I want all the shit. Like I'm not like a maximalist. In fact, it's probably like the opposite. I'm probably a minimalist. But
Mhm.
I want to live to the maximum of my potential. And
Yeah.
a lot of people watching you, I feel like you do as well. A lot of people relate to that. I've heard a David Goggins quote as well. Oh no, yeah, it was David Goggins. He was talking about why he does what he does. Why do you go to such feats to achieve greatness in whatever sphere? Like obviously in his case, like his physical capacities. He's like, because I want people to when I die, I wanted to feel like I've lived to the highest potential that I could possibly muster. So that when I
Mhm.
go back into wherever we go when we die and review whatever happened, I can go, yep, I did pretty well. Like out of all the timelines possible, I'm
Mhm.
at one of the highest ones. Yeah.
So you would say obviously the first step to that is self-belief. So was it something that you struggled with? Was it something that you developed over time, or was it like something that kind of like you had the sauce from the start?
Yeah. Well, I always had a healthy ego, which was a big part of it. Like
Mhm.
obviously, there's that line between ego and well, between confidence and arrogance,
Mhm.
and I was always kind of teetering on the edge of either of those things. So I always had a self belief, but the second that you put forward that you want to change something or something isn't right for you that goes against the established order, you're always
Mhm.
going to receive backlash. So I was always, and I was very against, and I still am to a degree, but I was very against authority and people telling me I couldn't do X, whatever that thing may be. So that self belief was, for the most part, it wasn't self belief. It was actually ignorance, because I didn't want to listen to anyone tell me what to do. It was more of
Mhm.
like a rebellious thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, but then obviously, as I grow and as I continue on the journey, I'm deleting the ego sections of it. So like I'm trying to get rid of the arrogance but keep the self-belief, if that makes sense, or the confidence but not the arrogance. So it's like I started off in a kind of unbalanced way, and then as I'm going forward, I'm trying to, you know, mitigate the deficits, I guess, if that makes sense.
Feel you. And going off that, like talking about the ego and stuff, the first video I actually came across your channel was the ego death one.
There you go.
Yeah, let's get it. So let's break that down, because I know it was you have a video also called your psychedelic self-help journey. I've had a video talking about psychedelics and self-improvement. Let's break down your psychedelic experiences, but mainly let's talk about the ego death, because it kind of like plays into what you just said about self-belief being completely on one side of arrogance, and that ego death kind of chipping you away to more that humble self-belief side of you.
Yeah. I think it's part of growing up, to be honest with you. It's part of
Psychedelics is part of growing up.
not psychedelics, but
I was like, well,
yeah. Okay, this is my actual belief, and I maybe said this on your podcast that we did, like our first podcast.
yeah,
I said that it's almost. I can't remember, but I think I said that taking psychedelics is almost like accelerating your mind to the point where it would be in like 7 or 8 years, and exploring that, and that's why it shakes you up, because it's like, oh my god, I'm aware of all these things where I wasn't before.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I almost get this feeling of like I'm falling through time. Forward, backward.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's connecting points, and your brain is communicating in ways that it normally doesn't. And that is very overwhelming, and you kind of get a sense of who you are. So I feel like you can sort of, in some way, communicate with a version of yourself that you haven't necessarily unlocked yet. And that's why I'm actually like, I'm actually pretty sober as of now. Like for the last maybe year and a half, I'm just chilling, because it's just, I want to be as present and as focused as I can be. But those like psychedelics, 100% great. They're a great tool for self-discovery, and I would recommend them to. I wouldn't recommend them. I take that back. I'm not. Try it if you want.
Yeah, we're not recommending, nor are we telling you not to do it. But
exactly. Yeah.
So
what about you, bro? What's your experience with it?
Bro, yeah, no, I agree 100% what you said, but I would say like add a little bit was I feel like it accelerates you in spiritually too, not just mentally. It accelerates you to a point where I think like you get a little taste, depending on the dose and what your setting and all that, of what some of these like yogis and like spiritual stages and stuff have to work on for like years and years to get to these higher states of consciousness. And like you said, you get to that version of yourself. I feel like it's like your highest version or higher version.
Yeah.
You get to that point because the ego strips away. So it's more like you're connecting to the core. But like you, I haven't touched them really for a while, almost 2 years, 2.5 years, because there's like a time and place for them. And like you said, it's overwhelming. So it kind of like rips a new hole on like the reality that you've been so used to. So it's like you gotta be like prepared to like fuck your shit ups. Like
exactly. Yeah. You got to be 100%. The way I look at it is kind of when you do things like that, you're kind of putting yourself on a spinning wheel, and you don't know where you're going to end up. But at the end of the day, you're going to grow. So if you're doing it if you're doing it for fun, you might enjoy it, you might not, but you want to be. But I feel like I can't even say that, because, you know, people will do what they will do, and that's all a part of their specific journey. So like, but I'm just giving you my opinion on it, you know.
So how was that, like the ego death experience, like specifically that one? So is that the last time you tripped?
Nah, but it was like the last bigger one.
Yeah. So like that kind of, was that like a turning point in your growth and development and all that?
I honestly think I just got scared, bro. Like I just everything just came out at once, and I was like,
let's hear that.
Yeah, I was just shitting myself on like some beach somewhere, because how can I say this? Because it's hard, like, I know why, in the 60s how like the CIA experimented with mind altering substances in terms of controlling
Mind control.
people,
Yeah.
or just whatever, just like testing them. There's a reason that they chose that specific substance, because, bro, you can believe damn near anything, like, especially me, because I'm very in my head. I'm very like, okay, what is that, and I need to understand. I like to understand a lot of things. So all of these things were happening that I was not understanding, and I was just kind of like, oh shit. And then on top of that, there was people around, and I was like, oh shit. And then you just kind of go into thought loops and stuff, and then you kind of just, I wouldn't necessarily call it. I would definitely say it's a blunder to the ego. I don't know about if death is the correct word. It's kind of like obviously hyperbolized for the YouTube title, but yeah, but it's definitely a version of it, and it's very specific to individual experience, because everyone will at the end of the day have a different experience based on what they need in that specific moment in time. But yeah, it's almost like you can peer under the veil or peer through the veil of what we usually see and understand as the norm of the world. You can see past it, and whether that's just in our human brains, then we share that in like a collective consciousness type thing, or whether that's a real thing, like a spiritual dimension or something, is up for debate.
Yeah, I feel you on that. So has that kind of helped you in your content creation, artistic ways, and like, because you got a really unique style, and it's like it's very dense and detailed, and like there's like you're portraying like a vision, almost like a film. Like I don't see many people on YouTube doing that stuff. It's just a general like YouTube content. It's more like you're watching a video, but with yours, it's like you said, an experience and stuff like that. So how's like opening your mind through these substances, through maybe even like meditation, this and that, like has that helped you in the artistic way? Because I know a lot of people in that like really deep artistic side of things, they kind of, like you said, they're in their own head. But I feel like you and a lot of great artists are able to take those thoughts and those visions and everything that's in your head and like express it in a visual, audio, whatever way. So a lot of people are super creative and super artistic, but they're so in their head and it can't get out. So did stuff like that help you, or like what else helped you along the way?
Practice and hard work is second to none, and the other thing you need is lived experience, because if you don't have any lived experience, then what am I listening to you for? I don't care. If you can't tell me something anecdotally that you've gone through, what are you going to say? So that's why you can't necessarily sit there and just grind and expect to be like making good content. For all intents and purposes, my content currently, even though I thank you for saying really nice things about it, but it hasn't reached the masses as of yet. So I'm still working on it and tinkering with things in ways that will be relatable, true to my voice, and 3, fit that kind of like immersive experience kind of medium or form. But I don't think that psychedelics or anything like that has anything to do with it, really. I feel like it is one of those things, like it goes under that umbrella term of lived experience, and you can draw on it. But I don't think that it really necessarily, tangibly, at least for me, did any good in terms of creativity. Because at the end of the day, it's just, you don't take LSD or whatever and then just draw like a masterpiece. You need to sit there in normal, sober, boring, whatever, and just practice, and that's how you get better. And the only way that you create masterpieces is through time, hard work, thought, patience, lived experience, and the other thing I said, which I forgot already. So I think it's people, like, I get comments all the time, or I get some comments saying, how can I think deeply like you? Do I have to take LSD to take? Like, no, bro. Like, just sit there and journal or read, or just, I don't know, participate in the world, and then you will come across different people who have different thoughts, and your own thoughts will be counteracted, or you'll come across people, I should say, that will challenge your worldview and not be closed to that. A lot of people are walking around in their little shells, in their closed-minded, ignorant bliss, and they're just chilling, never to challenge their own worldview. And then they wonder, why can't I express myself? It's because you're in an echo chamber, bro. You know what I mean? So it's like the first step is, and this is the thing that actually psychedelics would help with, is opening your mind to things that aren't comfortable to you, because nobody ever in the history of art ever created something that is amazing where they felt completely safe and comfortable.
Kind of put yourself out in the deep end, put yourself out in the dark
a little bit. Yeah.
And did you have to like struggle with that, or like you just kind of piece by piece chipped it away?
Yeah, I mean, everyone does. The first video I made, I like posted it to my story, and I was like, "Oh my god, everyone's gonna see this, and they're just gonna be like, oh, it just is a little bit shit." And like, I just do have a high, like, I literally put in the description. I can't remember what the description says, but after I watched it, I was just very eager to get it out because I just wanted to do it, And obviously at the time, I was like, "Yeah, this is sick." But even in the description, I said it's the editing's a bit shit, and the message is kind of neither here nor there, but this is my start. I'm making my start here. Okay. And obviously when people watch it, they go, "Oh, what the hell?" Like you're challenging their perception of you, which is very difficult to them, because a lot of people, like I said, are in that little shell of like chilling and only believing in this case who they think you are through their own perceptions previously. And when you step forward and do something different, you're always going to be like putting yourself out there. So that's the danger. That's just starting as somebody who hasn't started before is the danger, is the taking yourself out into the deep end. And then you go there and you go, "Oh shit, no one actually really gives a fuck if I do this." You know what I mean? Like, obviously there's people that say things, but deep down they don't really care. And if they do, it's because they are invested in some way. And if they are invested in some way, you need to figure out why they are invested, whether it's good or bad, and then use it to capitalize on your next endeavor. Yeah, so it's only positive.
Most of the time they're like projecting too. Like they're kind of scared that they want to do something. They see you do it, and they're like, "Damn, bro, he's at least giving it a shot. Let me try bringing him back." Like crabs in the bucket. So it's like, let me just say some shit. Maybe he'll stop and he'll stay in his little comfort zone with me where I'm at. Because if he starts keep going, bro, you never know. He might get to the top, and I'm just the guy sitting down here hating. So
literally, bro, especially for you, bro, because the shit you've been posting, you're gonna blow up sooner or later. It's gonna happen.
Appreciate that.
Of course, man.
So so what advice would you give to someone that's listening to this, that's like, they want to start content creation, they're in your Discord, they're doing your editing competition, they just overall want to express themselves, trying to make content, trying to just even start a business, it doesn't matter, go to the gym. What would you tell them? Because you've been in that spot, I've been in that spot of like what we just explained, of like people's perception of you is going to be shaken, it's going to be rattled, and you just kind of have to let go of this whole thing of like, I'm Frank or I'm Ali, you're whatever you want to be, and you're not like just box into one thing, like with all your school friends, I'm the kid that does this, blah blah blah. If you want to venture out and if you want to express yourself, what advice would you give after a couple of years of content creation, couple of years of just really putting yourself out there?
My advice is that, first of all, don't take anyone's advice, because I never took anyone's advice, and I just did what I thought would be cool at the time, unapologetically. So the first thing is, everyone's looking for education. It's literally what I do for a living. I'm an English tutor, like as a day job currently. So I know firsthand that everyone's looking for them for spoon feeding. It's not the way to go, because especially if you're trying to break new ground, which a lot of people are, that's like their dream, is to break new ground, right? Especially in the last 2 to 3 years, we've seen that education systems are really like, oh shit, we are quickly becoming invalidated because of the way that the world is moving. All the information you need is out there. It's just about how eager you are. So that's probably the second thing. First thing is don't take advice. The second thing is be realistic with yourself. Do you like this actually, or do you just want to be this because you like the end goal? Because if you're going towards the end goal, one, it's never going to happen, and two, you're not going to enjoy it when you get there because you didn't enjoy the process. And you know, in that weird scenario where you fluke it and you actually do get there, you're not going to know, like, you're just going to fall off effectively because you don't actually want to do that thing. The goal is not for fame and success. Probably the third piece of advice that you shouldn't take, because don't take advice. But the third piece of advice is the goal isn't fame and success. The goal is implementing your God-given ability onto the world. I think that's a Jay-Z quote that I just like mangled. But yeah, that's, what do you reckon? Do you agree with that?
Yeah, no, like the last part you said is 100% agree on. Like, I feel like it's kind of selfish in a way if you have these talents and stuff, because everyone does. I don't care how many people. Maybe you start off on level 10. Maybe you're so gifted you start at level 10, but you could also be starting at level 2. But that is your gift. That is your talent. That is your God-given thing. And there's a 1 in 400 million chance that you were ever born, this and that. Like, it's
Brilliant.
Yeah, I don't want to even get into all that stuff, but the fact that you were given certain specific skills and stuff that you kind of like were blessed with should kind of push you towards using it to leave a better imprint, leave a better impact on the world when it's all said and done. It's your time to go, because you never know when that day is. You don't know how it's going to come. So might as well follow that path. And like you said, don't take advice. That is like one of the best pieces of advice, because kind of like what I'm trying to do, and I feel like you're trying to do, and a lot of people in this sphere, is give you the sauce.
But we are doing it. We're doing it. We're not even trying. We're doing it.
Is give you the sauce and tools to figure out your own answers, because they're all deep down within you. It's not like you can just hop on this call with me and give me all the advice, all the topics and stuff. It's more, you give me the blueprint of how to navigate within yourself, and then you figure it out along the way. You pull out the ideas, you pull out the answers, you connect deeper with yourself, because the deeper you get in with yourself, the deeper you get in within your God-given gifts, your God-given talents, your higher self, your higher version, whatever you want to call it. So that's golden advice, to not take advice. That is like something I've been just doing naturally for my entire life almost.
Exactly.
So when I see other people kind of struggling with that they're like kind of like in their little shell, in their little bubble, they don't want to break out. They just want to, they've been kind of so like depressed, from not in the meaning of like depression, but like depressed as in like they're kind of brought down into like a lower state of themselves, that it's so hard to like break out of that, because it's really comfortable to stay there. It's really just easy to stay within those boundaries. But to go down deeper within yourself, to kind of like block out the noise, is difficult. It is going into the deep end. It is going into the dark, to the unknown. But that is where you eventually find the light. So I completely 100% agree with you on that. But I wanted to also ask is, when you get to that point that you kind of are getting things rolling, how do you keep expanding, keep just adding more stuff to your bag? Because a lot of people, they'll get to level 3 and they're kind of stop. You know what I mean? They broke out of the little bubble, but then they stay back in the comfort zone of that new bubble, because you're always pushing stuff, and you like a lot of artists, content creators that keep pushing the boundaries, that kind of make it awkward and uncomfortable that they're trying something new. And that's something I see in you. That's something I respect a lot, that you're not always just stagnating at one point. You're always looking to go a little higher. Maybe it brings you down to a little dip first before you go higher. So how would you say that you go about that? How would you say is kind of your little experience with that?
Yeah, I can't lie. One of them is desire for recognition,
Mhm.
100%. Like the possibility that my content or your content or anyone's could reach millions of people overnight is very appealing, and that's the dopamine feedback loop that social media in general keeps you on.
Mhm.
But that's like the bad or the negative side that you can use as a positive, like Michael Jordan or something, like using your ego in a good way. But I would say collaboration, literally what we're doing right now. It's okay, what are you doing? How are you doing it? Talking, creating Discord groups, talking to people constantly, especially in your kind of field or in your craft, within your
Mhm.
craft, but also people slightly outside, visual arts, photography, videography, cinematography, whatever it may be, acting, because they're all components and they're all kind of pieces of the puzzle when it comes to something like YouTube, which is basically threefold in that um, it's marketing. One side is just completely marketing. One side is the execution, and the other side is the keeping it up. So like the upkick, which is what
Mhm.
you're talking about. But yeah, I would say it's between those two. It's that desire for recognition and collaboration, because you cannot operate in a vacuum. You can see all these people all the time that just want to blow up or whatever, and only keep to themselves and never pay any dues. It's like it's not going to work like that. The whole thing is this is a community based platform.
Mhm.
We must create the best community, and that the best community will supersede anything.
Mhm.
So that's what I've been doing, and that's why it's a good segue into the editing competition that you mentioned before, which was just low key. Like
No
I'm gonna
plug.
be honest. It's just like yeah, it's just a way to create a good community of people that are interested in doing the same thing, not necessarily like minded, but interested in doing the same thing
Mhm.
and interested in learning and improving off one another. So I was like, okay, what would I? So I made this Discord server, for instance, and I was like, what would I benefit? What would I want in this server? And effectively, it's the things that help me make the content that I do. So everything that I have currently at my disposal in terms of resources is on there. Everybody that I use in my circle to create good content is in the Discord,
Mhm.
and it's just like gonna be a snowball effect of greatness. And it doesn't even have to be me, because I don't care if it is or not. That's like the attachment thing. I don't care if it's me, but through this group, there will be somebody who cracks the code in some way, probably, you know, in the near future, and they share it, because that's what it is. It's like you can't have a Kanye without a Jay-Z.
Mhm. So, what that how's that been so far? Creating a community, because it's one thing building a YouTube channel, it's one thing building like an Instagram page, but with like Discords, Telegrams, with real community platforms, you get like a different sense of feel to it, different sense of like engagement to it. So how's that been so far? How do you would you kind of explain it, the feeling? Because I've made my own. I kind of understand what you're talking about.
Yeah, so it's just awesome, basically, because I'm on there 3, 4, 5 times a week, nearly every day, just sitting on voice chat, editing. Random people pull through, ask questions. I ask questions, give advice, take advice, edit. Just sit there and have company with you as you as you pursue the things that you want to pursue. So it's awesome, man. You know, like people always say, you know, top 5 rules of being a YouTuber: reply to every comment. You know, like you have to build a community. But if you just sit there and reply like some dumb emoji to everyone who comments on, who like stumbles upon your videos, that's not community building.
Hmm.
Community building is giving value and being as like giving as much as you can, basically.
Hmm. So like with that, are you kind of shaping it in a way that you put all the stuff in there that you wish that you had? Is it kind of like, is it that kind of mindset that you got going with it?
Yeah, so effectively, I just have like a resources tab, and I'm just going to put all the things that help me, whether it be
Yeah.
programs or effects. I've got effects in there right now, color grading things, and eventually and all this stuff is for free, obviously.
Yeah.
Um, but eventually it'll just snowball and just be like you'll literally see the pathway or the blueprint that someone can take in order to get this quality of content. because I'm not trying to gatekeep, bro. I'm not trying to like sit there and say, you know, I'm better than you because I can do this, because I am no better than you, because all I had to do was just research and educate myself, self-education. So it's taking away that barrier of entry for free, and it's not creating like it's also not creating some like black hole of just like simps, you know, like you go on like sneakers Discord or whatever, and it's just like, I don't know, like you have like, oh, head
It's
mods, all
like
this, that.
brain
It's not
cells
like,
are just frying. Yeah.
yeah, it's not like a hierarchy and like people, it's not like a pyramid, bro. It's more like just a group, you know. Like I didn't make like, oh, I'm the creator of this, there's only like a couple of roles. Yeah, anyway, I just don't like it when people, I feel like it's very American. No offense to you. Like the more American
No,
people I
yeah, I'm
talk
not
to,
attached to like America.
yeah, bro. Like the narcissism is wild, and the ego shit is like, bro.
Mhm.
And that's what it's causes. Like that's the cause of a lot of
Suffering, like you said,
disagreement,
yeah.
suffering, and all this shit leads to things that nobody wants to see. Like, I don't know, the negative effects of capitalism, or like war, or shit like that. Yeah, it's mindset. But that
Yeah.
was a weird segue. Hey,
No, let's get into a little bit of that. So it is pretty obvious to me that your content, this and that, is more not just strictly entertainment, but you say some real shit in there. You say some real like stuff, not just like motivational, inspirational, but like thoughts that are probably going on through a lot of people's heads that are similar to you, but they don't want to say it. Is this something that you kind of like you you learn to develop, like not having a filter, just being able to express it as raw and as just like straight up? Or is it something that you kind of like bottled up for so long that it's just like you're finally just like, let me just start spin some
um,
game for these people?
yeah. Nah, see, the thing, I have this inner dialogue as well, where I'm like, a lot of my videos are just me telling people what to do in some
Yeah.
way or another. So there's like some aspect of pride in that, where I'm like, oh, I know what to do. But at the end, but like the self kind of the throat chakra thing that you're talking about is like, um, that's like genetic. I just always never really gave a fuck, and that's part of the ego thing as well. I never
Mhm.
really cared about what I say, what I was saying affecting someone else's like feelings or whatever, which I've balanced out as of now. It's kind of, I'm a bit more not polite, but I don't know what the right word is, but I'm a bit more approachable, I guess.
Yeah,
Whereas I
yeah.
used to be a lot worse.
More intelligent. You're not just like one way 100%. Like you kind of like
Yeah,
you know how to play the game. Yeah.
yeah, a little bit. But yeah, that was purely genetic.
Mhm.
And what was I just saying before that?
How yeah, it was genetic and like you kind of like balance it out along the way.
Yeah, no, I forget what I said. But yeah, that was purely genetic. It can be developed though if you really want to. But the thing that I've really kind of recently have been thinking about is just trying too hard. Like if you really want to do something and you try super hard, of course you're going to get there. But if you aren't meant to do that thing, it doesn't resonate with you. Not it shouldn't be trying. It shouldn't be like trying, to me is forcing something,
Mhm.
whereas exploration is more what you want to promote. That's why a lot of when we were having a conversation on DM and you were like, what does your channel actually represent? I was like, fuck, I don't know. Maybe like inspiration, which I was like,
Mhm.
yeah, okay, inspiration. But I'm still not at the point where I've honed the craft completely, and I never will be. Because at the end of the day, it's very hard to appeal to the masses or appeal to common thought when nobody really A likes to get told what to do, B has the humbleness to actually go ahead and receive that information, and three are just there to be entertained anyway. So you don't want to like turn them off by saying real, quote unquote, real shit. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
that's definitely a balance that I've been trying to
You sprinkle it
something
here
that
and there,
yeah
100%.
yeah yeah. I'm trying to figure it out. That's one thing, because I like, for instance, the dopamine, what did I call it, dopamine feast or whatever
No
video
big
I did.
beast. Yeah.
Yeah, I literally was like, I read it, I watched it back, and I was like, fuck. Like, if I was not me watching this, I'd just be like, fuck, this guy just doesn't stop telling me what to do. Like, let me live my life, bro.
Mhm.
But and I do have a point in the video, according to me, but it's what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know, facilitating that, or choosing the right ways to say things and then still present the vision, which is what I've been experimenting with now in terms of been posting a lot of Instagram reels. I've just been spamming them, just making these brain dead reels, just copying like using the same sounds and stuff and just putting nice looking aesthetic shots in, and hopefully that takes off. But yeah, that's what I've been trying to do. Less of my opinion and more of like just general having it, like making it a cool experience and something that you want to watch over and over again. Yeah.
But I feel like my like favorite content of yours is like you kind of like speaking to yourself, or like you kind of like going through an experience of yourself, you know what I mean? So it's like as real as it gets. And I feel like
we're not the same, bro. We're not the same as like everyone else, you know?
Yeah. But don't you want your community of like a similar type of mindset, like similar type of mission in life? Or that doesn't have to be the exact same, but kind of like the same or very similar way of going things, way of like seeing things. They're more open, they're more like centered around things that are actually real. Like, because a lot of people don't know, but dude, you pretty tapped in when it comes to like spiritual stuff, this and that. Like, I remember there was some content here and there of you talking about these things. Maybe it didn't get received by the masses. Like, let's say my channel, I know 100% it's not going to go to the masses, but I want to keep it like a really tight knit niche type of community, because I know like there's not many people out there that are talking about all these different aspects that I am, and something that I wish I had. So I feel like maybe when you like going back to what you say, trying too hard of like the masses, and you kind of like narrow it down, you're gonna start to realize like what is each piece of content, what is it trying to portray to someone, what is the message that when I click on this Frank video, go on Frank's channel, what is like the main thing I'm gonna get out of it? Is it something inspirational, motivational? Maybe it's something that he's teaching me, but it should be, in my opinion, like you don't have to obviously take my advice, and I'll hopefully you don't. Maybe opens up a couple.
Of course, we'll take it on board. Yeah.
Yeah, opens up a couple neurons or something, whatever.
Yeah.
Is like when you click on the video and you just see where the brand is going. Like, you know, the Frank is just like a channel right now to me, but I feel like you have so much potential with it, so much like artistic, creative abilities that you can really forge out like a brand message, a brand mission of like maybe it's through your editing, maybe it's through your experiences in life, that you know that there's somebody out there, young Frank, maybe it's like your friends when you were younger that were going down a similar path that you, that stumbled across a video of like let's say your dopamine feast, something that was entertaining, but it still came with a good message behind it. And that is, maybe it was like a turning point, maybe it just clicked a neuron, like we just said, in his brain, of just stop being such a dopamine fiend. Maybe it's just, that is the type of message that you give out to people. So that's something that I would say, looking at everything, because I've been watching you for a while, and like we've been chopping it up for a while. It's like every video is great, has something new to it, but it's like, I always think, what is Frank's mission? What is Frank's thing? So do you have a goal, a mission, or just like a thing that you want to get to? Because you made a video about how when you blow up, you know you're gonna blow up, but what's next? What is the deeper meaning behind all this? And maybe I'm going way too deep, but that's just something like maybe that's we'll start talking throughout this podcast, and it'll come up.
Exactly right. Yeah. I mean, I do have a lot of things planned for sure, in terms of like the reason I want an audience in the first place is so that I can do dope shit. I don't necessarily want to be recognized or want any as in when I say recognize, I mean like if I go outside and people are like, "Oh, is that Frank? Oh my fucking god!"
Yeah.
Like I want to get to the point where I can utilize and leverage things so that I can just make more dope shit and other people can enjoy it. I do like the inspiration thing. I do feel like any good artist should inspire you to make your own art. Like when I used to skate a lot, anyone that when I watch them videos of them skating makes me want to skate is a good skater. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot about that. But that's the main thing, man. Like thinking about what's next and what is beyond the superficialities of recognition. For instance, I want to do like clothing, which is I'm really interested in. I really want to do music, but I really want to focus on YouTube first. But I'm literally have no idea how to do music like at all. But I will get around to it. But there's limitless things and limitless pursuits that you can follow in this life, and a lot of the times 100 years or however long we stay here is not enough to get to all of them. I want to be a fucking race car driver. Don't you reckon that would be sick? Like when I'm like really rich and old, I want to like die in a race car accident or some shit. That'd be fucking crazy.
Is that just something for a video, or is it like that you actually want to go down that?
No, I literally like because when I drive my car just like on the streets, I'm just like I don't know. I feel like it's just so dope. Like going on this like I don't know, just like that competitive driving nature. I reckon that'd be so much fun. Just to like really learn and get into the details of that, how cars work. I feel like that would be super interesting. But that's like a pursuit for
like a
later.
hobby almost, yeah.
Yeah, well, I just want to like have because it's very risky to do that. So I want to have some, I want to achieve something of great, of something good before I risk my life in that way. Because that's what it is. It's just like following the risk, following the danger and the fear and following all those things that are termed bad, but produce breakthroughs.
Yeah.
But what do you reckon? What's your opinion? What about your kind of greater vision?
As in like I don't have anything for like the race car, like what I'm trying to do when I'm older, but I would say with the Fooladi Fitness brand is like I wish when I was going through like a certain point of like learning about spirituality, going through like a kind of like a big turning point in my life, I wish someone was there that was like not super ahead, not like these super yogi, super jack dudes, super like mentally focused guys. Someone that was like a little bit ahead of me, someone that was relatable, that was talking about all the aspects of like the entire realm of, I guess you call it self-improvement, but actually like spirituality when it comes to mental health, your body, biohacking, semen retention, all that stuff. I wish somebody was doing all of it, because there's people fully in one way, like how you were talking about, there was no like balance. It's just you're either 100% this guy, you're 100% that guy, you're 100% there's only like one or two people that I came across, but I was like something that I already really was interested into, all these aspects of life. Why can't I take my own experiences, go down this path, and kind of document my process, make it in a cool way that people can relate to, can get entertained, can get educated, and like enlightened all in one. And I don't want to do it. I don't do it for the recognition. I don't want to, like you said, walk outside. Everyone's like, "Oh, the Fooladi." I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that at all. And I don't even want to blow up and have a huge mass audience. I want to have like a very niche audience, be able to give as much value, go down this process and like document along the way, and just give out the game, give out the sauce as much best to my abilities. But the sauce, the tools and stuff I give is I want it to be in a way where you take it and can apply it and learn your own tricks, learn your own tools, learn your own mechanisms of the mind, body, and soul, because we're all different, but we're all connected. So there's like a simple recipe to things, but a lot of people kind of overcomplicate things, kind of don't make it in a way where you can relate to it. So I kind of wanted to be that little pocket in the internet, that pocket of like just whatever. And it's a cool idea thinking about it, is like all this stuff is going to be on here forever. And you just made a video about this recently. It's like we're living like a library of like our own experiences, our own documents, our own things that it can live on past us. So maybe in like 200 years, somebody's trying to learn a color grade and they stumble upon a Frank video, or they stumble upon one of my videos because they're trying to go through.
They're trying to get hench.
Yeah, trying to get henched, and like it just lives on. That imprint, that impact lives on. That's one of the coolest things about the internet. That's one of the blessings we have that we're living at in this time, in this age. And another bonus of it, obviously, it's not easy. By no means am I saying everyone can do it. Everyone has the ability to do it, but I don't think everyone has the will, the drive, the just be able to just take an L after L after L and just keep going. But all that risk has a huge reward. You can monetize the stuff that you enjoy doing. You can live a life that you are doing what you want to do. It isn't going to make it, it's not going to be like you wake up and like there's just Lambos everywhere that you just sit on the beach. You're still putting in the work. It's like, I would say it's even more work than the general 9 to 5 or whatever normal jobs, because it's like very mentally draining, spiritually draining. You're putting everything into this stuff and it might not work. There's no like concrete thing that you can fall back on. So that's a risk that you play, but the reward is so much. You get to leave an impact and imprint. You can leave so much value. You can kind of monetize your own gifts, because money's energy at the end of the day. It's like you're putting all this energy into the content, into your stuff, and you're getting the energy back to be able to do it again, and it just keeps going. The cycle keeps going. So that is one of the biggest like things that keep me like, wow, bro, like I genuinely have the chance to do this and I don't want to give it up. And I don't, like, even though I'm not there yet, we're not there yet, we will get there. It's just that, just like, bro, I know I'm supposed to do this. Maybe it's my ego, maybe it's our egos saying that, but it's like a drive. It's like a obsession, OCD almost, of like, just, you don't want to get to the end point, but you know that's like, bro, you can't go back now. You can't take a U-turn now, bro. It's like you put in all this energy. Let's keep going, bro.
100%.
So are you ever like in that moment of just like, bro, I put in too much work. I'm too nice at this. I'm just like you have that swag to you. Like, no way I can go back. No way I'm just putting all this into the trash.
Yeah, well, two things. One is that what you're describing is the hero's journey. And the reason why I have that kind of inner monologue or whatever I was talking about before about like telling people what to do is because not everybody is going to choose the same path, i.e. the hero's journey, as like us. And that's why we're kind of, it might not seem like this, and I don't know if this is the truth, but there's not a lot of people that are on the same wave as maybe you or I. Second thing is, I don't really get like burnt out or anything like that, for the fact that if I don't want to do something, I'll either pay someone else to do it, or I just won't do it. So I never really get burnt out because I am literally just enjoying, like, I would do this for free.
Yeah, to like wrap things up. So what I would say is, like, since we've gone through this whole podcast, what would you say is one thing that you want the viewers and stuff to know, your future viewers, the viewers right now, that when you click on a Frank video, is what should we expect? What should we think? And what are you kind of trying to get us to leave with at the end of the day? It could be any video, but like, what is it? What is the Frank brand? I would say the message behind it. Since we've kind of decrypted everything, hopefully we got it now before we wrap things up.
I would say, well, every video that you watch, it's going to be better than the last one. Every video that you watch is going to inspire you to create whatever you want to create. And every video that you watch will make you that much more invested in the deeper reality that you can tap into. like you were discussing earlier, getting into the nitty gritty of whatever craft you choose is the joy of life, or is one facet of the joys of life. And I hope that when you watch the stuff that I produce, that comes through, and the time and whatever passion, care, etc. is there, and that it can be enjoyed into the future. Yeah.
I know. So last but most definitely not least, let us know what's new, what you got cooking up, what are things that your new projects and stuff, what are future goals that you can tap us into before we wrap things up.
Yeah, I mean, we already talked about it, but the editing competition and the Discord thing is probably my main focus right now. I'm really, really interested in seeing what I can do with vertical content. Right now, I'm just copying other people, but I'll get to the point where I run out of things to copy, and then I have to make my own shit, and it has to be better than the last, right? So keep tabs on that. The editing competition is super important to me because it's bringing up the community. It's like a $250 cash prize for the winner, and most likely you're going to be working with me if you're that good at editing, so as to win a competition with. There's a fair amount of people entering into it. There's going to be a lot of really dope entries, and you guys will see that. I'll put a live stream or something and go through them all. So yeah, and I'm going to run more and more and more. So I'm just the more bread I can put together, the better. So I can, increase the cash prize each time. And I'm just going to have that thing running because it's just going to be a hub for inspiration specific to video and audio production. And I'm super excited for that. And yeah, that's the one thing I'm focusing on, is just, instead of what can I do to benefit myself, it's how can we all benefit each other and go up as a whole. Because where there is more than 3 of you, I am present, says Jesus, or whatever. It's like manifestation is 1,000-fold when there's more than one mind focusing on one thing. Yeah.
So that's dope, man. That's a dope way to end things off. That collective community, you're trying to build that up and just elevate people through giving out value, that's what everything is all about at the end of the day. Like, that's what you can do to make sure that you leave an imprint, that you can leave a positive impact, is just give value. And you've been doing that, and it's sick to see you getting more into the community building and just pushing out your vision, man. And you're young, bro. You're gonna keep doing it. So I'll definitely keep tabs on you. How else can we keep tabs on you? We got the YouTube for sure. What else we got?
Yeah, you'll find me. Don't worry. I don't want to plug anything because I want to make it, if
I'm
people who are
interested
will
in the
find out.
So
Thank you, bro. I just can't wait to take this to a bit more of a physical thing. Like, I can't wait to go and physically meet people like you, travel, do dope shit along the way, and just kind of take it less from the an online reality to a physical reality. So that's what I'm super keen to do that. And likewise too, man. I fuck with your shit, obviously, from time, because I can see like-mindedness and the striving for better in you. So appreciate you for the inspiration in that regard, and thank you for giving me a platform today, man. So
yes, sir, bro. That was a good talk, bro. We're probably gonna get
always will be.
Third part to this, maybe in person now.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, that was great. That was episode 2 of the Fooladi Fitness Podcast with my guy Frank, and it was a great time, bro. Appreciate you.
Likewise, man.
Peace.
All the best.